Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about solid reviews for the other monster catching game, and K-Pop Demon Hunters begins its gaming takeover. It's going to be a good one because we have TurboShawn McDowell on the show. Sean, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Jeff. I am completely absorbed in the game that everyone's playing, Hades 2. Never thought it would happen, but it has. It's got me.
It gets you on the end. Yep, it gets everybody.
Yeah, it's just really fun. I'm having a good time with that one. I played a lot on the Steam Deck last night. Bad idea. I can't play that game on a handheld, Jeff. There's just too damn much happening in it. You can't see shit.
Yep, it's a busy game. I played like almost all of the first one. I did play all the first one on Switch 1. This one seems even like busier. Like they were like, hey, you get the idea. We can like maybe complicate things a little bit more visually. So I'm making do, but I bet if I were to go play it on a television, I would notice a difference. Yeah,
it's like the one real issue I have with the game. Readability is a bit poor because there's so much going on. And that's kind of the appeal of a game like this. Once you get all the effects going, there's just basically, it's like particle effects all over again. You just want that stuff all over the damn screen. But it doesn't mean that I do enjoy the game a lot more when I'm playing here on my monitor than, laying down somewhere with the handheld.
Yeah, they seem to prioritize their visual design language, which I think is probably the right call. It's such a beautiful game, but that means that some of the communication visually to the player can get a little bit messy, and they compensate for that sometimes. I mean, I pointed out like when you're about to leave an area, if you didn't notice a resource, there'll just be basically a line that points you right at it. It says, "Hey, don't forget to mine this thing before you leave," and stuff like that. So they're aware of it, and I think it's probably again the right move. Don't compromise such a beautiful looking game.
Yeah.
I'm playing a little bit of Hades 2. I'm gonna play a lot more if I could just conquer the man breaker in baby steps.
Right.
I got right there. It was the last few steps, and I couldn't do it. It was too slippery, and I'm gonna have to go in there and really figure that out. I think I need to pitter patter. I got to just do like quick baby steps right up that little hill. And I just was trying to be too careful. And that's what you get for being too careful in baby steps. You kind of have to, sometimes you just have to commit and go for it. But I don't know, man, it's a lot. It takes a lot to get back up there and some patience. But I also just feel like I can't move on until I do that. So yeah, I'm going to probably stream some more of it here at some point. Maybe not today, might be a little bit busy today, but tomorrow before Game Mess Mornings is the plan, and hopefully we can end this week on a high note there. We'll see.
That game's got some moments, man.
Yes.
Like it's what do you call it? The blank gameplay, but like when things just happen without you really planning them.
Emergent gameplay. Yeah.
Like I feel like I brought them up every time I've been on a show for the past couple of weeks, but I was watching the My Life in Gaming stream on Sunday. Yeah. Corey and Try. I don't know if you saw, they were playing baby steps, and
he mentioned they were going to. Yeah, when we rated him earlier in the week.
Okay. Yeah. What's the dude's name? Nate, the character he plays.
Yep.
Nate falls down on the way to the porta potty, and so he's got the little chickadee thing, like the little chocobo chick they were calling it. And little guy starts walking past Nate. As Nate gets up, his leg swings out, punts the chickadee over the hill, and everyone was dying watching it. When you have a physics game like that, it sets up for some funny moments.
Right, you kind of can't script it, and so when it happens, it feels real magical. Yeah,
exactly.
I think I fell down when I was playing on Steam Deck this morning, and my helmet landed on the ground before me, and I landed right on top of it, and I think I either smushed it into the ground beyond the polygon so I cannot access it, or it shot off into the horizon so fast I couldn't even see it. I think my helmet might officially be fully lost at this point. So
squeezing a pea out of a pea pod, just putting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Just shot just 10,000 joules of power. Just shot it across the world.
That's a good game.
It's a good game. They really know what they're going for, and they kind of I think found the exact right balance of punishing and forgiving and fun and frustration. They know what they're doing. They've done it a bunch of times before. Right. All right, let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb video game doofuses. We're independent games media. That means we need your help to keep covering games and doing things our way. A lot of you have come through by going to giantbomb.com/join, becoming a premium member. thank you to everyone who has. It means so much to us. We really have seen that support, and it's been, like I said, means the world to us. And if you want to join up, be a part of that, giantbomb.com/join premium. Do it. It goes a long way. It also gets you ad-free versions of the show, gets you a lot of extra goodies, things like that. And if you can't, if it's kind of out of your grasp right now, totally understand. Never would want someone to subscribe if it's going to put them in any hardship. Tell a friend. Share this show with others. Share the Bombcast with others. Tell people about Blight Club. That also goes a long way. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you were watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Digimon Story Time Stranger reviews. They are in. Game's doing pretty well. It's got an 81 on OpenCritic. It's like, yeah, another game scoring at least an 80 on OpenCritic. That's, just another one to add to the list if this is your kind of thing. Got 6 out of 10 from Dalton Cooper at I wrote down OpenCritic here. That's not right. I can't remember. It might be DualShockers. He says, Digimon Story Time Stranger squanders its fun combat and monster collecting mechanics with repetitive dungeons and dull storytelling. But it got an 8 out of 10 from George Yang at IGN, who says, Digimon Story Time Stranger has a few minor... Game Rant. Thank you. Dalton Cooper was at Game Rant. George Yang at IGN said, Digimon Story Time Stranger has a few minor hiccups, but it builds on its predecessors to deliver one of the best Digimon RPGs to date. And then a 9 out of 10 from Lucas White at Shack News, who says, Time Stranger doesn't always hit the way I was hoping because I foolishly expected more cyber sleuth. I had to get used to a slower, more somber kind of energy. And for all the systemic improvements, I found parts I didn't actually love to engage with. But Time Stranger impressed me with its own vision and ambition to be more than just a sequel to the cult classic a bunch of weirdos love. It's about time, such a long wait between games delivered so cleanly. I'd gladly wait another 10 years for the next one if that's what it takes. Sean, I know you have some love for Digimon, right? You watch the show. I'm sure you played some of the games. Is Time Stranger on your radar? How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I saw that trailer during one of those presentations earlier in the year. I think it was earlier in the year. It might have been late last year. But something about the way it looked and something about the vibes, there were, I don't know, a little bit of like 50s Americana vibes mixed in with the usual Digimon stuff. I was like, what is going on here? And when they're like Time Stranger, I'm like, okay, so some kind of time travel or something's going on here that they're going to use to explain why things are a little bit odd in this one. The Digimon Story games didn't quite click with me because I tried Cyber Sleuth, the one mentioned here in Lucas's review, and it was a little too slow for me, which has me a little concerned at him mentioning that it's even slower, but it's very Persona 4. Like, just whoever was developing the game, I can't remember if it was internal Bandai or if it was CyberConnect 2, whoever it was just like, what if we did Persona 4, including the slow opening? And I'm like, no, wrong notes to take. But people swear by that game. And I've always wanted to get into it because I really like the Persona games. I like turn-based RPGs in general, JRPGs. But yeah, something about Cyber Sleuth didn't really connect with me. But this one was just looking good. People playing the demo. I didn't have a chance to even play the demo yet. People are saying that plays good. So this one, I've been looking forward to. And it looks like we have a bit of a range here of review scores, but settling at 81, that's still very good. It has me optimistic for playing this one.
Yeah, it just seems generally well liked by a lot of the reviews. I went through some of the other ones, and I think people seem to be just pretty happy with it. Digimon, I've never touched a Digimon game. Traditionally, should I just expect Pokemon from like the core series? Like, where does this slot in? Like, what's the difference here?
So that's the funny thing, Jeff. Digimon games have never had a consistent through line. It's not like
that's why I'm like confused. Okay, yeah, go ahead and explain.
Well, it's not like Pokemon where a Pokemon, like a mainline game, is a turn-based JRPG inspired by Dragon Quest. That's what they've always been.
Right.
It's what they, it's taken them 30 years to try different things, really, with Scarlet and Violet, and now Legends ZA being real time. It's not like that with Digimon. The Digimon series has just done whatever the hell it wants to. They've done Smash style fighters. They've done party games. They've done RPGs like this. And there's a bunch of different subsets that they tend to divide them into. Like Digimon World was the big one for a lot of people back in the day. Then now Digimon Story is the more traditional RPG. So they've just tried different things to kind of see what sticks, which is probably smart because you shouldn't be competing with Pokemon directly, especially if you're kind of just ripping off Pokemon in a lot of ways. So I think that's also part of why they've coexisted, is because people who like this thing can try a completely different style of game, right?
Yeah, it can stand on its own. Is there like an ongoing anime still, or like a new series or something like that? Like, where's that at?
They also do that differently than Pokemon, where Pokemon has just always felt the need to keep the anime series going. Yes. They had a little break where they transitioned from Ash to the new protagonist, but Digimon kind of just put out seasons back in the late 90s or 2000s, and now it comes back when they have a new show to make. It's more traditional anime production of, we want to do this new thing, tell a new story, just with some of the characters you already know and some new Digimon. So again, it's still very different from how the competition is doing it.
Well, good news for fans of Digimon. Just sounds like this game is going to deliver at least something that a lot of people are looking for. Maybe it won't hit for everyone, but 81 again, pretty impressive.
Looking good.
K-pop Demon Hunters has arrived in Fortnite with skins, items, and a new mode. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. K-pop Demon Hunters, the chart-topping movie and music sensation, is the latest IP to make its way to Fortnite. Skins for Huntrix band members Rumi, Mira, and Zoe are available starting today in the Fortnite shop, and I'm sure I'm going to have to get them for my kids, as well as various accessories and emotes inspired by the Netflix movie. They're also available as Lego minifigs for use in the game's various Lego Fortnite modes. Their arrival also marks the return of Horde Rush mode, which has now been revamped as Demon Rush. The mode will remain active for the next month and will end on November 1st. Then there's just a bunch of text here from their press copy or whatever. K-pop Demon Hunters is a good movie that I enjoy. My kids love it. They constantly bring it up. I put it on one time. The first time I put it on, I'm like, hey, I've heard this. I wonder if they'll like it. The one kid got scared because she just wasn't expecting demons in the first 10 seconds or something like that. But then we tried again, and now they're both pretty obsessed with it. So
okay, hang on. Question: does she know what demons are, or did you just not say the title of the movie?
I just kind of put it on to see what would happen, and and then I think if there's ominous music in a movie, she's just like, oh, I'm supposed to be scared, and she plays the part. So
I was gonna say, because did we just have a Dan moment here of like, there's demons in my K-pop Demon Hunters? What the hell? Like, well,
yeah, they have no context. But even if I would have explained, I think she would have been like, what's going on here? She's sick
in that voice.
Yes, she's scared of everything, and she talks just like that. It's crazy. Like I said, I like this movie quite a bit. My kids love this movie. I don't think my kids have had interest in Fortnite. That will change with this. I am wondering what is the state of because they're not going to want to go do the battle royale stuff. I don't think. Maybe at some point they will. But the Lego stuff, that seems promising. And there's a creative mode, and then I know there's all of the user created stuff that's starting to really pop off in there. Do you know what the options are for me to introduce this to my kids and be like, hey, here's a kind of low-key way for you to explore this world while running around as your favorite characters?
You're barking up the wrong young millennial tree, Jeff. I have no idea what's happening in Fortnite.
Why do I talk to you? He's I'm bringing this kid on and he doesn't know shit. Yeah.
I was curious because you mentioned, you half joked, I'm probably going to have to buy this for the kids. So they just haven't really checked out Fortnite at all yet.
Yeah, so
it just
they're
hasn't been on the radar.
Yeah, they're super into Minecraft still. Right. That's number one for the most part. Those Minecraft YouTubers that they then watch also play a lot of Among Us, which I've not really set up for them to play because I just don't I don't want to be playing that with strangers. And then
Right.
I'm not like, with just the three of us, is that going to be any fun? No. So I'd have to like set it up with their cousins, and I don't know if their cousins are ready to play that or anything like that. So they're interested in Among Us because they see the YouTubers play it. I don't know if Fortnite has like popped up into that orbit for them. But once they definitely are like, I had to go, K-pop Demon Hunters skins are not in the Minecraft store. I had to like actually go and find that online and upload that into their game for them so they could play as Rumi and I think Zoe is the other one that they wanted to play as. And so I've done that for them in Minecraft. Once they see this, they will want to play Fortnite. I'm not exactly sure what the best course of action is. I think there's a creative mode. What that looks like for them, I don't know. That's how they like to play Minecraft anyhow. So I'm imagining it's probably something pretty similar.
And I know that the Lego mode is like kind of just a Lego game that happens to be in Fortnite, and there's other stuff.
Right.
Me and my friends did get really into when they introduced Festival and the racing game.
Yeah, did you like the racing? Yeah.
Yeah, the racing game is actually really good. I liked it quite a bit. It was just like too content bare at launch for us to stick with in place of like Mario Kart or like now we're playing Sonic Cross Worlds and have a blast with that. And it's just like, well, these experiences that you pay for do tend to just be a little more fleshed out than the ones you get for free.
Yep.
Yeah, but I could see a kid getting into that. But I don't know. There's a lot of Fortnite continues to be just like a lot of stuff to do, right? Yeah. So I'm sure they'll find something within the ecosystem to latch onto.
Yeah, I really want to be able to like kind of set him down in a safe, fun environment where it's not going to be every 5 minutes, hey, Dad, can you come do this for me? That's the kind of actually a little bit of the frustrating thing is I'm like, I got to work on other stuff. I got to play this game for myself. And, the other night I spent like just an hour trying to help them out with various stuff in Minecraft because there were some issues and then they were trying to do this specific thing. And it's like, I enjoy it. But then after a while, it's like, oh man, that was like a huge chunk of my evening wasted here. I should have been working on other stuff. So it's like getting into Fortnite. It's like, okay, I think it's going to be pretty friendly. Obviously, they've thought a lot about making it a friendly experience for all kinds of different players. But they are smart to jump on K-pop Demon Hunters. And yet I also I think it's worth pointing out that this does feel a little different from the recent trend of boomer shit for boomers, which has been like Power Rangers. Sorry, Jan. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I guess that's globally appealing, but that like it definitely also appeals to older millennials and stuff like that. And I think like if you look at the trend of like where they've been going, they do that because who has money? It's slightly older people. They're not really worried about appealing to kids. K-pop Demon Hunters is the exception because it's so popular that they can you can probably break through that and it's not going to be a concern. But I don't know. The Fortnite skin situation, I think, has just been a little bit weird when I started to notice that. It's like, oh yeah, they are just trying to appeal to people who they know probably have money and they're not so worried about these younger audiences.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing when you brought it up because I don't know. That's kind of the vibe that I've been getting from them recently because, look, I know still everyone plays Fortnite. Yeah, it's still the biggest game in the world, yada, yada. But I'm wondering how much it's actually sticking with kids nowadays because we are quite a ways into this whole saga. Fortnite Battle Royale itself has been around for eight years?
Yeah, 2017. Yeah.
So it's starting to get up there in terms of live service games. I'm wondering if they are retaining that younger audience, or more importantly, are they bringing in new people in that younger audience? Because it felt to me like focusing on an older audience may not have just been a play at, trying to get money from the people with money. Maybe it was also like, oh, our demographic is skewing a little bit older as the kids get a little bit bored and go back to Minecraft or something. I'd be curious to see if the numbers are out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think there's a part of it that is that the audience probably is just skewing overall, like older overall on average. And at the same time, it's like we know the way things are breaking right now with the economy and with jobs. It's getting rougher and rougher, and it doesn't look like it's going to get that much more promising. And I think we're probably going to see here. Well, we'll get the results here for like what this very early part of the holiday sales season looks like. Let's see how Borderlands 4 did. I think Borderlands 4 probably did okay, but did it do like the way it was supposed to do? Were people spending money on that thing the way that they thought they would? I think we're probably gonna start to see reflected in the numbers here very soon that the discretionary spending on video games as an entertainment medium is actually starting to get hurt by people losing jobs and not having a lot of extra money and everything else getting more expensive, which has, of course, been the story for years now. But I don't think that fever has actually broken. If anything, people might be putting down games in a more permanent way than we even realized.
Or at least more selective, because like I mentioned, trying to get my friends into Sonic racing, and it was a kind of a mixed bag of, ooh, man, $70. Like, we already have Mario Kart 8, and it's like, that's good enough, even if this one has like new tracks for us to play on stuff. Do I want to spend that much money? It's a lot easier for us to get into something like Fortnite or Warzone or whatever and dip in, dip out as we feel necessary. So yeah, I get what you mean.
In the meantime, it's like, obviously things like K-pop Demon Hunters, like I said, are going to be big enough and popular enough that they'll continue to make deals like this in games like Fortnite. But
yeah, this is how you get that younger audience in. If it has been not dwindling, but like if it has been decreasing, like this is a smart this is a smart play to keep that audience interested for sure.
Starbreeze has canceled its Dungeons and Dragons game and is laying off 44 staff as it focuses on Payday. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Swedish developer Starbreeze Studios has canceled its Dungeons and Dragons game and plans to lay off 44 staff as it shifts its main focus back to the Payday series. The studio announced today that it will discontinue development of its D&D title, which had the code name Project Baxter, which was originally announced in 2023 with an anticipated 2026 release window. Following a strategic review, the board of directors and management has concluded that resources are best deployed to accelerate the growth of Starbreeze's flagship Payday franchise, it said in a press release. Some of the Project Baxter team will be redeployed across Starbreeze's other projects, most prominently within Payday, and that's a quote. But the studio also notes the headcount will be reduced by approximately 44 full-time employees across the studio. This is like still seems like fallout, ramifications, consequences of Payday 3. It's Payday 3, right? Payday 3 not hitting the mark, kind of coming out and being a disappointment, and then them not being able to get it back up, into ship shape, so that everyone's like, okay, yeah, sure, it started bad, but whatever. We've seen the story a million times. Now it gets improved, and we're all showing up for it. Doesn't seem like that's happened either. People have returned in droves to Payday 2, and so the company's kind of in this limbo period where it's like they aren't exactly sure what the future is, but they know it's making money now, and maybe they're like, we kind of can't take yet another risk when we have to like shore up our central pillar here. And that just shows how dangerous and risky making games is. So it's like, hey, you have Payday 2, a thing that was printing money for them. You try to do the next thing, Payday 3, it goes bad. And now all of your plans are thrown out the window. You got punched in the mouth. You have to abandon everything. And a bunch of people are going to lose their jobs because they have to save money while also trying to fix Payday 3. Or whatever the plan is. I don't even know if they're going to try to fix Payday 3. Maybe they're go to Payday 2.
I was wondering, so focusing on Payday, what does that mean? Does that mean just putting more content to 2? Does that mean fixing 3?
Really good question. I don't know. And I think, it seems like the audience is still saying, go back and focus on Payday 2. But is that the right choice long term? Eventually you feel like, well, no, you want to fix Payday 3 still, but I don't know.
Ideally.
I
don't know. Like, Jeff, I looked up Steam charts because I wanted a better picture of this. These numbers are so weird to me. Okay. Yeah. So how many current players do you think Payday 3 has?
I would say it has like 5,000 peak concurrents a day or something like that.
Currently 1,500 and currently like 600. But then the beta specifically around 6,000 with a peak of 20K. What is going on over there? Like,
so that's the beta so that's like maybe the beta branch, the beta
branch of Payday 3. How does that is such a weird. How does everyone know to be on that? And are they doing like huge things in the beta? Because Payday 2 still has current players is like 35K. Right. So I am so curious about what the hell's happening over there, man.
Yeah, I would have to look into it. I guess just based on those numbers, I would guess they have a very engaged audience that probably is trying to like test out the new stuff, and Payday 3's beta branch. It's got to be it. So, okay, well, I mean, that's somewhat encouraging. You can kind of see why it's like, okay, maybe we do have a pathway through here. We can like see some daylight because people are still very curious about what we're doing in Payday 3. 20,000 concurrent players peak for a beta branch. That's, you can work with that.
Yeah, that's a sign that people want something new. You just have to deliver, right?
Yeah. So I bet that they're like realizing that themselves, and it's and also money's limited, and I bet they probably aren't hearing a lot from investors being like, hey, let's invest and kind of help bail you out of this situation. They might have to just cut, and that's going to lead to them being like, we can't afford to pay for this license anymore, let alone develop a game on top of it. And you know, it was a Dungeons and Dragons game. I think that is it's an IP you can work with, you can do something with it, but that does not guarantee success. You know, you're going to be compared to Baldur's Gate 3, no matter what genre you're in. It's a tough thing to pull off. So maybe I kind of understand how they ended up here.
Yeah, I'm fascinated in everything that's happened with Starbreeze for a long time now. Sure, we're going to get some videos made in the near-ish future once people can talk more about this. But yeah, the Payday situation in particular is fascinating. But yeah, this sucks that that layoffs are happening for them to refocus on their service game, as opposed to presumably this is focusing us on our service game as opposed to our single player game, is I think the overarching story here, which kind of says a lot about the industry. And it sucks, but well, you see more and more of these stories every day, and I hate that I'm almost feeling desensitized to it, but that's where we're at right now.
Right. It's like, if I was in their shoes and I had this thing that I kind of understood how it can make consistent money versus the big bet, it's like you easily see how they make these decisions, and it stinks that that's the reality, but that is the reality. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, plenty of more headlines. If you want to skip out on these, there's a premium audio feed. There's a premium video feed. Those are ad-free. You go to giantbomb.com/join. I'm a premium member. You get those. You don't get the ad. Here you go. Here's an ad. All right, we are back. It's Game Mess Mornings. I'm Jeff Grubb. That's TurboShawn, Sean McDowell. Let's keep going here with the headlines. PlayStation is sunsetting some PlayStation 4 services for new titles in spring 2026. This is from...
Sorry, Jam put this on the overlay as PlayStation is sunsetting, and some people were freaking out in the chat for a second there. Good job, Jam. Anyways, please.
PlayStation is seemingly beginning the process of phasing out support for the PlayStation 4, as Insider Gaming has learned that some legacy services for the platform will be sunsetted in spring 2026. Documentation sent to Insider Gaming says that PlayStation is to start sunsetting legacy PSN features for the PS4 in the spring for new title submissions. Basically, any new games submitted for the PS4 going forward from that point. It stated that this means that any new PS4 title submitted after this date will no longer be able to integrate with the following legacy features. A lot of these features are back-end features, stuff that might matter to a developer. Some of them are very minor, but it's about the overall story here, not necessarily about people losing features. It won't be able to work with the activity feed web API. So without this, new PS4 titles won't be able to push social updates to the PSN feed. Oh no. Reducing visibility of in-game progress or shared moments. Title small storage, TSS. The impact of that, developers will need to use alternative storage methods for minor game data, possibly increasing reliance on local or cloud saves. This is stuff that would save settings or other things like flags, like, hey, I want to play inverted or something like that. Title user storage, which the impact of this, new games won't be able to use this centralized PSN linked storage, which may affect cross-syncing or cloud-based personalization. This is like another side of that same coin of, if you do set a setting and you want to save it in PSN, PSN's not going to do that anymore. They're not going to help you out with that anymore as a developer. Users and profiles will also be affected. Somehow new PS4 titles will lose access to legacy profile APIs, possibly limiting personalized features or social integration. PSN's word filter thing will no longer work. So if you are using bad words, this thing would just catch it. Yeah, shit. If you made your name shit, PSN just wouldn't let you do that. Well, now if a developer wants to mitigate people using bad words, they will have to use their own word filter. Again, very minor things, but these are just like kind of Sony signaling that they're less interested in people putting out games on PS4 now. And then last one is shared meta web API. The impact of this, new titles won't be able to...
Web API.
What's that?
You said meta media web
Thank
API.
You. Shared media web API. The impact of that, new titles won't be able to integrate with PSN's shared media systems, which could reduce social sharing or in-game media access. I'm sure that some of these things will cause some headaches for developers. I think most of us are not like thinking about any of these things when we're purchasing a game. Obviously, the story just here is Sony slowly shifting people away from PS4, those people being people who make games. And it's like, hey, if you're going to put out a new game, just put it on the PS4. It'll work on PS5. Does feel like maybe that's finally beginning to like change. And Sony's like, that's actually more hassle than it's worth at this point. Just put your game out on PS5, right?
Yeah. By the way, first of all, I think I cut you off before you gave credit. This was Tom Henderson, Insider Gaming. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting one because Jeff, how much longer do you think the PS5 generation has?
I mean, like,
I know that's like $1 million question right now, but
right,
just like,
so what do you mean by the question though? Do you like how long before the PS6 launches or how long before the
launches? Because clearly we're gonna have a bigger cross generation period than ever because the PS5 is capable, but how long until PS6?
I think the PS6 is out in 2028. I think they'll actually go to 2028.
That's what I think too. Yeah. And so it's interesting that means we are, around 2/3 of the way through the generation. And only now are we talking about, hey, the PS5 is finally the console from PlayStation.
It's, and that was a big talking point a couple years ago, Sean. Like, hey, when are we going to move on from the PS4? Like, when is the PS5 going to be the central focus so I can feel really good about purchasing this system? I think people are over that, and not because they like found a way to feel good about the PS5. I think they're just sick of it. They're like, whatever, we get it. This is the way things are going to work now. My shiny new box is going to feel a little less special than it used to. And just kind of, I think people will see this and probably be like a little relieved, but I don't think anyone's like taking this news and be like, and that means next year PS5 games are going to feel even cooler, even more like special because they aren't worried about the PS4 at all. I think the reality has been proven and borne out here that the thing holding back game developers is time and money, and it has nothing to do with them having to make also a PS4 version of their games in most cases. I just think that we've accepted that gaming has changed on consoles, and this news is probably not going to mean a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of this is specific stuff for it's partially like PS4 features, but also just smaller, more niche things in general, I feel like. And as like you said, we're moving away from those PS4 specific versions of games into PS5 because PS5s are out there in huge numbers. The PS5 really has just been... That's another thing I would be curious to see someone like study a little bit, like put out some kind of article on. It's fascinating to me that the PS5 has actually been like, neck and neck with PS4 success.
Yep, humming along.
Even though it feels like we're doing nothing but complaining, like normies don't want to put down the money for it and everything. No, that's really not what the numbers show. They've been out there. That's just, it's always been so interesting to me. But that also does explain, why we're seeing this, why we're seeing them just not support features that, hey, this is 12-year-old hardware. We're just moving away from it finally because the audience seems to have just moved on to PS5 for the most part. If they are going to, they have done it.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out, like, there is like that odd feeling we have about like the PS5 and being like, oh, why does it not feel like it's doing as well when it is doing as well? I think a part of that is just like the overall console ecosystem. Like, fewer people are buying Xbox Series systems than they were buying Xbox One systems. Like, that number has dropped, and yet the PlayStation 5 is not like grown at the same rate. It does feel like it's brought a lot of those people in that aren't buying Xboxes instead and are getting the PlayStation, but it's like that's helping it just keep up with the PS4. That has not led to a huge burst of growth for Sony and PlayStation, which I think just kind of speaks to the overall, the same people are playing games. It's just not a lot of new people. And the way that these companies are behaving, you could tell they're very worried about the fact that new people are not coming into this market, into this space. And, maybe they're not even worried. They're like, our answer is charge more, raise prices across the board over and over again. Yeah. Really, that's the answer over at Microsoft, but it's also been the answer at Sony for the last year or so.
I would say it's also not that it's specifically the same people as much as the same audience. As people age into and out of that audience, they kind of maintain the hardcore gaming crowd and then get the people who just need a machine for their annual games. But that means that console gaming is sort of staying stable, at least on the PlayStation side. Nintendo's sort of like all over the damn place as they like, have hits and then don't have hits, like we saw with Wii to Wii U to Switch. But that's not where growth is. Growth is in markets like mobile, and we see Xbox doubling down on stuff like streaming, which theoretical growth there. I don't know if there's actual
huge select regions, right? We've heard Matt Piscatella tell us it was Brazil, it was Korea, good internet, good actually infrastructure, and high cost of consoles, especially in Brazil, where they have massive tariffs on importing stuff like technology, and that has caused them to have like $1,700 PlayStations for forever. And so, people wanting to play on the cloud there, that makes a lot of sense. So it can work. It's just it's not replacing it in a region that we're used to, and it doesn't seem like it's bound to do that anytime soon.
Yeah, curious to see how these companies handle their different approaches right now.
Yep, agreed. All right, next, Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels Minus World has finally been found after nearly 40 years. This is interesting. This is from Alana Higgs at Nintendo Life. We've all heard of Minus World, right? A glitched world in the original 1985 release of Super Mario Brothers. It was accessible via World 1, 2, and is in infinitely looping underwater levels, similarly designed to World 7, 2. It's one of the most legendary glitches in gaming history. And it turns out its direct sequel also has its own Minus World. It's just taken almost 40 years to discover it. And speedrunner Cosmic is the one who discovered it, thanks to Nintendo Everything, who originally reported the story. In both the Japanese and English releases of Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels, the actual Super Mario Brothers 2 in Japan, but the All-Stars version that was available on Super Nintendo, various glitched worlds are available, either changing the names, looping screens, or changing enemy behavior. However, it's that All-Stars collection where a Minus World is really tucked away, and it's incredibly complex to pull off to get to it. You have to first progress through some increasingly glitched versions of levels. The idea is Cosmic is trying to get past B8, but reaching B7 the first time, he realized it was impossible to beat. Saving, quitting, and reloading brought him back to a completely different level layout, but it allowed him to get past the impassable glitches and roadblocks. A glitched warp pipe with part of a coin above it in B9 brought Cosmic back to World 1-1, but this didn't deter him, continuing to progress through the glitched worlds until he reached World BD and eventually various glitched menu options. It's a lot easier to watch than read to explain it, obviously. Essentially what happened here is you have to just go through all these various hoops. You have to glitch the game in the exact right way, progress through the levels in the exact right way, and eventually you will get to this Minus World that is like this. Basically, it looks like a developer test level or something like that. But it's been hidden for 40 years. No one's discovered it until now. And Cosmic, the speedrunner's like, it's almost certainly because it's really difficult to do. And two, there's just not as much interest in the lost levels as there is in some other Super Mario Brothers games. But I love stories like this, Sean, where things have been hidden for a very long time and a community just keeps at it and keeps discovering new things. And especially Lost Levels, which is an especially weird game.
Yeah. And I mean, the Lost Levels sucks. It's a bad game, by the way. Like, they were just like, well, we took a just intricately crafted game like Super Mario Brothers and just said, fuck you. we hate you. We want you to have a bad time.
Yes.
This is really interesting, though, because it's not like this is specifically lost content necessarily. It's more of figuring out that the glitch that existed in the predecessor also can be recreated in this game that is based on top of it.
Right. Yeah, which makes sense. They probably use the same tools and the same like processes to develop the game, and so that being hidden in there, it's probably just it was probably there for the same reason it was in Super Mario Brothers 1.
The Lost Levels was the original like Kaizo ROM hack, the original like FU ROM hack. Yep. Just Nintendo themselves put it out, so it makes sense that a lot of that stuff would transfer.
Yeah, I definitely think about Super Mario Brothers 2 Japanese version Lost Levels quite a bit when I'm playing something like Baby Steps, but it's like the difference there is like Baby Steps is artful about its fuck you, and Lost Levels is just like a troll. It's just a nonstop troll game, and I respect that. Like that's a lot. That's fun in some ways, especially when you're playing it and streaming it for others. And the first time you like jump over a pole and like, what is going on in this game? It's so strange. And then you keep going. You're like, oh no, it's not just strange. It's mean and stupid. Again, I respect that, but weird game.
Yeah, it's also it's a lot different when you spend full price on a game versus I had to look up, and Lost Levels was a Famicom Disk System game, so it presumably would have been cheaper as well. So if you get if you get a budget thing that's like this was half the price of a regular game or whatever, and I see they're messing with me because they know I played Super Mario Brothers 1. That's a little bit different than if it was just the next like full price cartridge game, and I'm saying screw you.
How much were disk system games, right? They were like half price or something, like even less than that a lot of times, because you would just overwrite a disc.
Well, yeah, keep in mind, games had variable pricing there. It wasn't until like the PS1 era where the real MSRP was kind of established at $50 or $40, I believe, for PS1. So they could just charge whatever the hell they want to. I would have to look up, how much this costs. But yeah, and then there's also stuff like, Nintendo Power. Not the magazine, the thing where you can load it up on a rewritable thing and whatever. But yeah, the point of the Famicom Disk System is that since it was basically floppies or floppy adjacent tech because it was magnetic, that they could put these games out for less money. I don't know exactly how variable it was, but yeah, there's a difference.
Shout outs to Discoon. Warframe 2 getting Switch 2 version. Digital Extreme showcased Warframe running on Switch 2 during a recent developer live stream. It will have faster loading times, higher shading quality, and it's targeting 60 frames per second in docked mode. The team has access to dev kits now, but they have not given a release date for when the Switch 2 version will come out. Originally, Warframe hit Switch 1 in 2018. Panic Button did the port. It was, as usual with Panic Button, a respectable port, something that worked surprisingly well, but was not a great way to play the game still. This should probably kind of solve a lot of those problems. Like Warframe is an older game at this point now. They update it all the time. I'm sure they're updating the visuals too. But I bet this game will probably end up running just fine on Switch 2. And this is one thing I guess I wasn't thinking about too much. That obviously Fortnite's going to get a Switch 2 update. Like that's the kind of game that's big enough and they have enough money that they can do that. But like the ones a step down from that, like the Warframes, that very successful game. That should start getting Switch 2 updates as well. Now, I don't think that applies to like every kind of game like this, but Warframe, they have a good grasp on that audience and what people want from it. And I was like thinking I might check this game out on Switch 2. That would be a pretty good way to play that.
What? Why is the title here Warframe 2 getting Switch 2 version? There's no Warframe 2.
Yeah, I don't know. Warframe 1. Just Warframe.
Warframe is getting Switch 2
Warframe getting Switch 2 version. Yeah, that's Freudian slip. Just thinking about them twos. Always thinking about that number.
It's Switch 2. You expect Warframe 2. I get what you mean. It is cool to see the Switch 2 get more love from these games that are ongoing, because it does mean that, we can replace those older versions that were meant for a much, much weaker hardware. Like the difference between a PS4 game and a PS5 game is as noticeable, especially because the PS4 had PS4 Pro. So you still have most times a 4K ready version of that game to play on your 4K TV, even if there isn't a native PS5 version. But the Switch, first of all, was topped out at 1080p, whereas the Switch 2 tops out at 4K. So there's so much more headroom there, on top of the fact that we do have the more powerful hardware. So I love seeing updated versions like this, even even if theoretically the original version of Warframe on your Switch 2 would look and play better than ever because they're hitting those maximums better. Nice to see them get those native versions out there so that you can also do things like hit 60 FPS in docked mode. That's pretty cool. I mean, this is
nice.
An old game at this point, so you would kind of hope so. That's kind of what me and you were telling people for a while here. If it runs well on the PS4, should run well on Switch 2, and that's what devs seem to be saying as well now. Because yeah, of course.
And that leads right into the next story, which is Final Fantasy VII Remake director says lighting is the crucial factor in making it look good on Switch 2. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Really just headlines the story. They're just kind of saying, hey, yeah, we recognize people are really happy with the way the game looks. We can kind of get away with this and go a long way by focusing on things that really make a huge difference to the image quality. And in this case, that's the lighting. And eventually we will stop doing stories about, hey, game looks good on Switch 2. We are still in that period where we're sussing out exactly where the hardware is going to land, how developers land with the system, how things settle in. Like, is it going to be, sure, it's powerful in certain instances. Star Wars Outlaws just got another update. Apparently now it runs and looks even better. It's like, okay, cool. But does that require all of this extra effort from studios? And should we expect studios to do that? We still kind of don't know. So we're going to keep talking about these stories. I think the thing I keep taking away, Sean, is that thing I mentioned before, where developers can actually on the Switch 2 pick and choose sort of where they're going to put their efforts. Whereas with the Switch 1, it was always turn down everything across the board. And that does make a huge difference. If you can prioritize the lighting because that makes a huge difference in your game, well, the Switch 2 can accommodate that. And to me, that continues to be really good news.
Yeah. And I think the statement that the lighting is crucial is a big factor here. And I'm glad that, like you said, they can do that they do have. It's not a situation where Switch 2 just straight up cannot do certain things. Like we saw with Star Wars, the fact that the Switch 2 supports ray tracing. Are you going to get ray trace reflections at all ever? Probably not, unless it's like, what was that Shinen game? The Tourist, I think. The little
right. The
Minecraft looking game. Yeah, the 8K on PS5 game. Yeah, that's where, maybe you'll get like ray trace reflections because the dev is like flexing there. But generally speaking, that's not how they're going to use the tech. They're going to use the tech in situations where you need the tech in order to run the game, because we're at places where ray tracing is essential for just like the global illumination. I know this is a little inaccurate, but yeah, like I like to refer global illumination as sort of like the room lighting, the environment lighting in general is what GI tends to be, and they can do that because the Switch 2 supports it. And it's good to see that a situation like Remake, where it's very moody, making sure that things aren't overexposed, blown out, stuff like that, goes a long way in making sure that experience is preserved on the Switch 2. And yeah, I think it's looking really good. Digital Foundry boys have had hands-on with it and said, yeah, this looks like just a really good port from what we've seen, what we've played. I'm glad that the Switch 2 can do that now, because as I say a decent amount, I don't think games need to look radically better than PS4. So it's nice to see that we're at least at that level across the board.
Yeah, it's. I think we've kind of like dealt with the fallout of developers continuing to push the visual fold, and sort of the reality of that seems like it's not worth it. It seems like games are taking way too long. They're becoming way too expensive, becoming way too much of a risk. And of course, there are going to be some companies that have to keep doing that because that's their business model and that's how they stand out. And it leads to huge rewards for them. But just about everyone else in the industry maybe should just be pulling back a little bit. God, I wish it was possible that developers did just start targeting the Switch 2. Make that your lead platform. I don't think that's going to happen. I wish it would, though, because I think that would just solve I mean, for some, maybe. For some. Like, maybe Capcom even.
Well, because remember, over on PC, a lot of devs have switched to Steam Deck.
They definitely have kept Steam Deck in mind. You're right.
Yeah, it's like the base level of, okay, we're not going to hamstring our game if we can avoid it. But if we are capable of having things scaled down to that Steam Deck level, and that be the base performance, and then everything scales up from there, we have higher poly models, we have a less level of detail issues, we have much higher resolution textures, ray tracing. We are at the point where PS4 level base is good enough for you to then have a really good looking PS5 version on top of it. We've seen it with Sony's first party stuff, the cross-gen stuff like God of War and Horizon. Those games did not look ugly on PS5 just because a PS4 version exists, right?
Right.
And that's where we're at with the Switch 2. It's keeping pace with the PS4, so we can have that base version that looks good enough. It also gives you the headroom. I think that is where I would like to see developers go, and where I would like to see them take their optimization, because then that also means that games are going to run better for those of us who have PS5 Pro, nice PCs, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, I have a kind of a bubble that you're working in and making sure that the Switch 2 is well within that bubble of sort of a range of performance options. That's probably the move. People in chat.
It's a far cry from like Switch 1, really hamstring a game if you're targeting that.
It's deeply far away from that. Yes, and people in chat freaked out when I'm like, hey, prioritize the Switch 2 as your lead platform. That'll hamstring everything. Y'all, this is not the problem. The problem is the money and the time. And when games are like, hey, let's go to the top end platform, every single one of those games is running like shit right now. Developers are biting off more than they can chew, and every single open world Unreal Engine 5 game runs like fucking dog shit. And is this what we want? What's the answer to that? You're gonna are you gonna get a 6090 to solve this problem? No, of course not. You're gonna get a regular GPU like everyone else, and your games are gonna run like shit because developers are trying to make their screenshots still look better than everything else. And it's like, Switch 2 is good enough, I promise you. PS4 was good enough for, like Sean keeps saying. I agree with that. That was good enough for the vast majority of games. And if you could prioritize, maybe not lead platform, but prioritize making sure there's a good version for something like the Switch 2, it'll ensure everything else is performant. And,
it's
developers need to be
tide.
hamstrung a little bit based on what I'm seeing from so many games right now.
No, yeah, go off, Jeff. For real. People need to be talking about this more of again, I think it was on this show where I said that what's his face in a tree over at Epic Games? What the hell is
Tim
that dude's
Sweeney.
name? Tim Sweeney.
Free boy.
Tim Sweeney. He's an asshole. He's a jerk, and he shouldn't be talking about developers the way he does. But again, had a point of keep things in check. You need to spec out for the systems you're developing for, the hardware you're developing for, the PCs you're developing for, because people can't buy the latest and greatest stuff. So you need to keep things at a level where, hey, it's okay if the base PS5 can run this, it runs it decently well, we'll scale up from there. And Switch 2, same thing. If a game can run on Switch 2, have that version so it can be your base, you can scale up. Always better to scale up rather than scale down, because you can only squeeze so much performance from something that is less powerful, but you can always add higher level of detail, better textures, improve the lighting on more capable systems. So I think it's just the fact that I at the risk of repeating myself too much, because we have that baseline now, that is where we need to be. We, like you said, maybe sometimes they do need to be hamstrung a little bit because it keeps people in check, right?
Yeah, and we, God, we're going to keep harping on this, but we've given developers, the industry has given developers some more space to work with on the CPU side of things. The CPU jump from PS4 to the modern generation of hardware is so massive that they could be doing so much more with simulations and all kinds of different new technologies, smart AI, actually having characters behave in a more believable way. But that shit costs money and research and development, and it's risky, and you don't know if it's going to pay off. So we're not getting any of the fun stuff we should be getting from developers having more hardware. So why do they keep going the GPU way? Because the screenshots sell video games. So we're going to just keep having them run into a wall of being like, hey, we made it look really good, and oh my God, it runs at fucking 25 frames per second on everything, and it hitches like crazy. It's miserable. I don't want it anymore.
Mike was very happy about this generation getting a PS5 because he was like, finally, I don't have to worry about my 900p 30 FPS PS4 games over and over and over. Yep. No, we'll have the games run well. It'll be at some higher resolution, sure, but they will run well.
Yep.
And no, we keep having companies chase, like you said, sort of almost the bullshot mentality. You want that higher resolution, pretty trailer nowadays, YouTube trailer, as well as coverage on social media and stuff. But look, it's to be very clear, it's not like on the people who are actually coding the game, making the art and everything like that. This is all management shit. And like, look, Lex had that pretty well covered yesterday, so I won't relitigate that. But holy shit, our team's being mismanaged if we are at the position where we are still chasing graphical fidelity over optimization and performance. And that's why the Switch 2 will hopefully be good for all of us, because it will hopefully be successful like the Switch 1 was and give developers a powerful platform that is also lower level, so they kept in check.
Just keep things in check a little bit. All right, last headline here. Marvel Cosmic Invasion demo now playable at Steam Next Fest. This is cool. They got like 2 playable levels.
Next Fest?
Yeah, it's another Steam Next Fest. There's 9 playable heroes in this thing. Spider-Man, Wolverine, Storm, She-Hulk, Captain America, Venom, Rocket Raccoon, Nova, and Phyla-Vell. I don't know. Jan, do you know who that is? They also, listen, there was some new... I'm sorry. But I think the last 2 characters did get data mined, and I don't think they're Cyclops. I don't know, but I'm sorry. There's a ton of characters in here. It's wild. There's no Cyclops.
Then I don't care.
I'm so sorry, friend.
Just kidding.
It's co-op
Marvel
ready.
Cosmic Invasion. I'd love to play.
It looks really good. Team up locally or online to double the destruction, and then it has Steam Deck support, so you're gonna be able to try it out on there. Hey, Dotemu delivering another cool game. I will check this out. Steam Next Fest. God, there are too many games for me to like really think about the Steam Next Fest all that much, but this will be one I will at least install on the Steam Deck. All right. Go ahead, Sean.
Phyla-Vell has been Captain Marvel, but she's been other heroes, like other titles as well. So I guess that's why
like Marvel. Okay, it's like a variation on that. I see. Yeah. Interesting.
Man, there's another Steam Next Fest. Every time there's one of these, I download a crap ton of demos. It gives me a ton to look at, and I just get way too damn busy checking stuff. Man, no, it's not the time for another Next Fest.
It's not the time.
I don't have time for demos right now. You know how much crap I had to play like in preview and stuff. But hey, go download some demos, because Next Fest always has some cool indies to check out. We need to support indies right now. Please.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. Even if you're not worried about supporting other people, whatever, you just want to be selfish. I get it. There's going to be some fun games that will fill some needs, and you'll discover some cool new stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the poll question. This is from yesterday. Let me actually reload the thing here. There we go. Posts. All right. Have you ever played Prototype? The options were yes or no. 46% said no. 54% said yes. More than half of respondents, nearly 4,000 votes. This just felt like one where it's like, yeah, that's like back then, if a big game of that scale came out and it was good, everyone played it. And Prototype is maybe like the poster child for that idea. And it was really delivered on superhero video games in a way that we hadn't seen from like anything that wasn't like Spider-Man or a handful of other things. Yeah. It's a really good game, like a really solid Xbox 360 era game. And the reason we're bringing it up is there's rumors that they could bring it back. Prototype 1 and 2, Iron Galaxy might be working on it. It got updated on Steam, new credits that references things that might be for an upgrade. I would play these games again. How about you?
I've never played Prototype before. I just had other stuff to play at the time. This came out while I was in high school, Jeff, not to make you feel too old, but I was definitely more focused on like party games and stuff at the time. Okay. Like Rock Band or like split screen Call of Duty, stuff like that. So yeah, this is one of those games that I never got around to, but hey, I mean, I'm sure this is $1 or whatever on one of the PC sites, or it's like cheap to get a physical copy. So maybe I'll check it out, or maybe I'll check out a remaster.
Yep. High school gaming, party gaming. That's the way to do it, Sean. I'm glad to hear that, because like that was why the N64 was so good for me when I was a kid. Like why I'm so fond of it. It was the party game console, and I could have friends over, and we just played that thing nonstop. So when it kind of gets judged today by people who are like, only play single player games, like you're kind of missing the context a little bit. Although I understand, I get where people are coming from when they criticize it. Just had to get a little N64 defense in there before we end the week here, Sean.
As you do.
I know it's only Thursday, everybody, but it doesn't feel that way. We got a new poll question. We'll get to that here in a second. Before we do that, Sean, where can people find you on the internet? What do you have going on? Tell people all about it.
TurboShawn, SHAWN, everywhere. If I'm on a platform, that's the name I'm using. If you can't find me, I'm probably not on that platform. Otherwise, hey, doing stuff here, Giant Bomb, editing shows, editing shorts. I'm trying to get, if Dan's watching, that Metal Gear Solid thing is probably going up tomorrow because we keep getting big news this week that I need to put on socials instead. I was so busy yesterday, I didn't put anything out for the Game Pass thing. I'm probably gonna squeeze one in there this morning about that. So yeah, it's been a crazy time. We're working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes right now. A lot of games coming out. Very busy. Keep it locked and go to giantbomb.com/join.
Man, C-Doy in chat just says Grubb is so old. Lol.
You're so old, man.
So old. So
We love
I'm
you, but
closer
damn.
to 50 than 30 is definitely something I think every day. That's a weird thing, but yeah, right. Oof.
Oh, I'm
New
closer to
poll
40 than 20. That doesn't feel good either.
Yeah, it comes for us all.
Shit.
New poll question: how would you grade Switch 2's launch year so far? A, B, C, D, or lower? We'll probably do this a couple times. We'll do it maybe again after Metroid's out, kind of seeing how people are feeling. Overall, I'm really happy with it. The Nintendo games have been good, and then playing indie stuff on there has been fantastic. So,
Dog, if this console didn't have Donkey Kong, I would really have buyer's remorse right now. But
sure, yes, but it's a great way to play Hades and Silk Song as well for me. Now,
Yeah.
of course, I know Steam Deck OLED. That's a great way to do it.
yeah, I was gonna
as
say
well,
like,
so.
yeah, I feel different because I have a good Steam Deck, so I'm just feeling differently about the whole situation. But
I
hey,
get it.
if Switch 2 is what you got, it's a great handheld.
Yep. All right, we'll get the results of that. Talk about it on tomorrow's episode of Game Mess Mornings here on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, let me take a look at the calendar here. We have some stuff happening. Voicemail Dump Truck will be at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's 11 a.m. Pacific. Then after that, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern, going for around 2 hours, Mike is going to be playing Super Mario Galaxy 2. Them there on that Switch 2 that he's got. That just launched last night. I've not had a chance to try it out, but I'm looking forward to seeing how the pointer stuff works. It seems like it's acceptable, which I'm excited to hear about. Before Voicemail Dump Truck, maybe I'll try a little bit more baby steps. I want to get that thing done. I want to see. So
All right.
We'll see how we're feeling, although there's some other work I should take care of as well. But we'll see. Tomorrow's episode of Game Mess Mornings will be when we have the Bomb 12. I put up the link, the form link, giantbomb.com. There's a blog post for last week's Bomb 12. You can find the link in there. Submit your game. I want to get some results in there so we can really have a good Bomb 12 to end the week. All right. I think it's going to cover everything. Sean, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Jan's shopping for banjos.
No, he should be. Yeah, he earned it.
Oops.
Good for you, Jan. Good for you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Oh, yeah, Lego Party on UPF tomorrow, everybody. Come hang out with us. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a real good time. Till next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
I've only ever played Nuts and Bolts.